Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and BidamountLive.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, August 20th, 2021, and this is our weekly video. And we're going to do what we do every week. We're going to take a look and see what prices were on Chinese things that went through auctions on eBay, over on Catawiki. We're going to talk a little bit about a sale that's coming up in Sotheby's right now. It's an online-only sale of whitewares, sungwares, some really interesting things. They're on the global member pages already, and some other things. There's a lot going on. I'm following. We were supposed to be on the back end of a hurricane around here this weekend. I'm not sure. They don't know which direction it's going to go exactly, but it is supposed to hit landfall south of here, Newport, Rhode Island, maybe off the New York area, and then sweep north. And we're hoping it doesn't hit us here in Cape Ann. And if it does, I will take my camera and take some pictures of the waves, because I know people like to watch huge waves, and we stick out in the ocean pretty far, so we get really big waves, so we'll do that. One of the things, so we'll see about next week if it happens. I'll try to film some of it. Last week I mentioned that we were going to add a section onto the global pages for the users for the weekly video, so you can watch them ad-free, and that was done. So if you're a global member page user, you click open the menu here, and there's a new line added: videos, ad-free, and news. And one of the things we also got was some software where we can add different news events that are going on pertaining to Asian art that you might want to read each week, interesting things, auction prices, and so forth. But I did notice one of the articles in here at the very top of it, right here, the Hollywood Reporter. And if those of you aren't familiar with it, the story is that this is the movie heist, the Chinese art heist movie at Warner Brothers. This is causing a bit of stir in China, so especially with the Chinese government. Over the last few years, many of you are familiar with the robberies that have taken place at some of the great museums in Europe, especially targeting Chinese art. And some very, very fine things have been stolen and taken in rather brazen robberies and so forth. And GQ did an article about it, a fairly long article about it about 3 or 4 years ago. And Warner Brothers decided they'd like to make a movie about it because it sounds interesting. And they've hired Jimmy Yang and John Chu, who are pretty well-known performing figures and directors and so forth. And they're going to be doing the movie about it. So I don't know when it's going to be out. It doesn't really say. The article just says it's based on the 2018 thing, 18 GQ article. But we're going to keep an eye out for it. And when it comes out, I'll let you know where you can see it. It should be fun to see. It'll be really interesting. And learn more about it. If you haven't read the GQ article, you can go follow up on it and find out more about what the movie's on. So you can do that. The other thing I wanted to mention was Sotheby's has an online sale going on right now. Here it is, of whitewares. Whitewares, well, it's not all whitewares, but a lot of it is Qingbai, Tang pieces, and there's some very nice examples, some good Zishao white glazed pieces in here. And this is all online bidding only. And some very attractive things like this pair, like a nice pair of Meiping vases. These are really, really, really pretty. It closes in 5 days. The current bid is $38,000 Hong Kong, or $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000, a little under $5,000. But a very attractive pair of vases. There's a number of good lots, really a good number of lots in here. There's some very fine little bits of Qingbai. I love this southern white glaze, southern Sung, or a northern Sung white glazed bowl. There's some nice Qingbai pieces and so on. There's about 120 lots on the sale, and if you're using the global pages this weekend, check it out. They're all in there. They're all linked. You can go in. Nice looking bronzes, Western Zhao bronze with a beautiful even dark green patina on it, and some nice other pottery figures. Love the shape of this Tang vase. What a wonderful shape. And we've all seen that shape, many of you recognize, is the shape that they kept making right through into the Qing dynasty. And it's the basic shape upon which all those Guangzhou vases were made that have the butterflies on them and all that. This is the basic shape right here, the bottle vase. And it sort of first came out in pottery during the Tang Dynasty, and this is a nice early example. Not a crazy big estimate on it, 10 to 15,000 Hong Kong, which is a couple of $1,000s. And there's something you can own, and it's pretty good size to it, 23 centimeters, about 8 inches tall, beautifully done, and but forerunner of much later, porcelains all throughout history. The Qianlong Emperor, Qianlong period, they made them too. And lots of other things to go through. A nice pair of Gu vases, late Shang, some mirrors, some good accoutrements on here, chariot fittings, all kinds of doodads, as they say, all kinds of doodads. And lots of little bits of jade. So check it out. If you're a dealer, check out there's some pretty big lots of things in here you might want to look into and see what it's done. This is also really nice. This lacquered bronze figure of a scholar holding a scroll. This was particularly attractive. They don't know exactly when it was made. Sung to Yuan dynasty, probably. It measures 15 centimeters or roughly 6 inches in height. But what a surface on that. Just a beautiful, beautiful old surface, seated figure with a scroll in his hand. And estimated in the right now the current bid is 7,500 Hong Kong, or about $1,000, and it has looks like a $3,000 to $4,000 estimate on it in U.S. currency. But something in there that many of you could probably afford to chase after a little bit, and on and on and on. So you want to take a good look at those auctions, those items. It closes in 5 days, and you have time to ask questions and see if you want to pursue any of them. All right, now over to what's coming up. One of the things I noticed, we added the global pages this week. There's a sale, a Galerie Monhuis in Switzerland has an interesting sale of early pottery and early ceramics. And you have things like this. This is early Korean Buncheong ware bowl. It's a well-known type, very rustic, very cool looking, measures about 7 or 8 inches in diameter. It looks like it's a much bigger bowl, so it's 7 or 8 inches, and has a starting bid of about $2,100, which is about right for those. They typically bring $3,000 to $5,000. Some of them bring $6,000, and a nice early bowl. And then they have this also. I think this is also at Monhuis, is this very nice cream glazed strap handle mug. Absolutely beautiful, late Ming to early Qing dynasty, with this pod on top. I love these cream glazed pieces. I think this is absolutely beautiful, beautifully potted, beautifully shaped. Do they date it? They call it 19th century. I disagree with that. I think it's older than that. I think it's probably 18th century or 17th century rather, or somewhere in there. I think it's much older. But it does have a strap handle on it, but it's awfully well done. It's awfully well done. And let's see, what else is there? This is coming up at a sale, at the same sale, again, is a very early piece of Chinese fabric. And they have it listed as 19th century or older in bad condition. Well, it's in bad condition because I'm pretty certain this is a Ming textile. Judging by the way the peonies are done, the silk ground, this sort of voided silk groundwork to it, the gold, and here's some of the original color down here, this very nice color. Yeah, it's a bit of a wreck. But if you like textiles and you're not in the position to spend thousands of dollars on an early textile that needs a good home, this is something you might want to chase. As collectors, you sort of have an obligation to rescue pieces so they're not lost to history. And this is something that looks pretty good. It's 116 by 97 centimeters. So it's pretty good size. 30 centimeters to an inch. So it's, to a foot. So it's about 3.5 feet long, and about 3.5 feet, 3 times about 4 times 30. Yeah, 3.5, 4 feet tall, and a little under 3 feet wide. There you go. It's length and width. All right, so it's a nice old piece anyway. And if you like old textiles, this could use a frame and get hung up maybe somewhere away from any direct sunlight and let it live out the rest of its life happily. All right, and then over here to this is a sale that's taking place up in Canada at A.H. Wilkins. And I've had a bunch of inquiries about the A.H. Wilkins sale. Now, they have some ceramics and things in there I'd be very leery of, okay? This is one of those mixed sales where they have some genuine things. They have a lot of things that look genuine that are pretty suspect. So you want to be pretty careful here. But they have some rather nice things as well. And one of them is this old painting, an 18th century painting. It's fairly large. It's beautifully done of a presentation scene. Here you have an elder or perhaps an immortal, and you have all kinds of great early devices, rue scepters, books being presented, these beautiful fans, a couple of seal marks. He's seated in this spectacular rootwood chair. Very nice 18th century work. And this piece measures about, how big is this? 44 centimeters, 17 inches in diameter. So it's a pretty good painting, pretty good sized painting. And estimated at $2,500 to $3,500 Canadian, or roughly $2,000 to $3,000. All right. And also in this same sale are a series of paintings, gouaches. These are fairly large gouaches, like 18 inches. This is one of them. And they're all framed and ready to go, as they say. Here they are, of interior scenes, and they're very, very good. There's 4 of them all together. Here's another one of a bedroom with lots of Ming furniture in it. And then there's this one, which is the fanciest one, which is like a great room in a house filled with Ming and early porcelains and so forth. These beautiful planters. And all this business all the way around. Lovely scrolls hanging, calligraphy, you name it. This is really well done painting, and they're all framed the same. And the site size, the image size on this is 15 inches by 19 inches. So they're good size, 15 by 19 inches, and they're all estimated sort of in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. This is $2,000 to $3,000 Canadian. So it's $1,600 to $2,500. It's funny, I don't know why this one is estimated lower than the others. It may have a condition issue. So as always get a condition report, because I think this is the best of all the paintings. And there's another one I'm not showing you, but you get a feeling for what it is I'm talking about. All right, now over to what happened on eBay last week. It was, like I said, we're still going through the summer. There are sales coming back. Willingwies has a sale that's up on the global pages now. There's a couple of sales coming back, and I suspect over the next week we're going to see a lot of auctions coming online as the auction houses are getting back to work overseas. Summer breaks are ending here in the U.S., and we're coming up on September, of course, where they're going to have Asia Week. There'll be some fall sales at Christie's, Sotheby's, and Bonhams. So there's a lot of activity is going to start, and then very shortly. They've already got some of them. They're not populated with items yet, but they are on the calendars showing up at Bonhams and Sotheby's and Christie's already. So keep an eye on that, and we'll let you know when it comes up. There might be some very interesting things. And one of the things that was on Katawiki last week that sold was this. This was a pretty good buy. It's a nice piece of 18th century Japanese amari with a celadon rim on it. Very, very pretty dish. It's a well-known pattern. It's in all of the books, but in nice condition with good gilding all the way around. And somebody picked it up for 161 euros, which I think was a very good deal. As you know, we've been including increasingly almost only unreserved lots on the Katawiki section on the newsletter page each week over here. Those of you who aren't familiar with it, we'll just run over to it quickly. On this page, each week we put together items that we find on Katawiki and on eBay that look good to us, that we select, and we have a link to it also to the Bid'em Out Live page, which you want to check out because there's more and more stuff on there. There are a number of sales on there this week. Things are starting to sell over there. It's really interesting. And some things are just getting listed and getting bought immediately. So that's good news. And this is the newsletter page for eBay. These are things that we pull out and put on the site to share with people after we've taken a good look at them. And we do the same thing with Katawiki, but we try to pick things on their list, pick from the list of things that are unreserved, because the unreserved lots give you a much better shot at buying something rather than waiting for 10 days, getting frustrated at the end, and you find out that the reserve wasn't met because it was too high. So if you're not a member, if you don't get the newsletter page, come over to it on Bid'em Out, subscribe to it, and we'll let you know when it's updated each Friday, and you can go and be the first one to poke around. All right, now back over to here. So the Amari plate went for 161 euros, which I think was extremely reasonable. A nice old example It's got the typical sort of chunwa mark the Japanese put on the back of the plates. All these little spur marks, very typical. And then over here to this was this nice 19th century Cantonese ivory card case. This was a very fine one. And it went for 446 euros, which I think was a steal. And I think part of it is owed to the fact that they can't ship them out of the EU. Obviously, if you're in the United States, you can't bid on these because you can't get them shipped into the United States legally. And if you get caught shipping them in and get involved in a transaction like that, it is a federal crime. So I'm just letting everybody know, a little heads up there. But this was an absolutely wonderful circa 1820 card case, beautifully carved, an absolute bargain. And in the past, as those of you that have watched these videos before, we've seen ones of not this good quality bring $700, $800, $900, $1,000. But this was a very, very fine case, and it looked like it had no wear and in beautiful condition. All right, sometimes you can get these, and they're still in their original Canton box as well, and those are really fun to have because they have the name of the store on them sometimes. All right, now over here to this was the rock crystal vase. Had a couple of inquiries about this. It was fine. It's a Republic period example. These big pieces like this with the chimeras climbing up the side and this incise work in the body is pretty typical of Republic period work. They did a fair bit with these. It had the most wonderful profile. Look how narrow it goes at the base, then flares up. Had a nicely carved knob on it. I think it had one fracture in the base somewhere, which is pretty common on these. They often fracture, but on this it had this nicely carved in into the body dragon going around it. So you've got chimeras going up the side, dragon on the top, and then a dragon wrapping around the body with waves at the base, and then this nice Greek key border and this very robust base. Here it is. The base was about 3.5 inches wide. The whole piece was about 9 or 10 inches tall, but very nice quality. Nice Republican workmanship. Went for $898, which I think was pretty reasonable. I think that was a nice buy. I like that a lot. I've seen these in the past. They can bring $1,200 to $1,800. This one I think slipped through. It was being sold by a seller out in California. And on to this, the Cantonese sectional box. We had looked at this last week because it was such a large one. That's rather unusual. Most of these boxes are only 2 or 3 or 3.5 inches wide from corner to corner at the longest point. This one was, I think, 8 inches or something, 36 centimeters in length. It was 15 inches long. 15 inches. This was a nice big box with a peach lid handle on it, and nicely decorated. Just a good-looking piece, beautifully shaded, nice decoration. Robes were well detailed, and somebody picked it up, I think, pretty fair, $1,174, which I think was actually a very, very good buy. If this had gone for $1,800 or $2,000, I wouldn't have been particularly surprised. I can't think of the last time I saw one this big. Years ago, I saw one in a collection of porcelain pieces like this, and it was a Kangxi sectional dinner service, and each section was about this size, about 16 inches. It made for an enormous centerpiece. It was one of those old collections. The stuff was bought back around 1900. They had amazing stuff, Shang bronzes and all kinds of great things. And they had a bar-brimmed Ming charger that was 23 or 24 inches in diameter. It was spectacular. And they had this giant Kangxi sectional setup, and this is like a sweetmeat set, and the pieces were as big as this. And that was about the last time I've seen one that big. But this was lovely, and it brought a fair price, $1,174. Not bad. All right, now moseying along over to this, the rank badge with the crane on it. It's like a fifth or sixth rank badge, nicely done. Has got very tight, that little thing they sometimes refer to it as a blind stitch all through it. Nice webbing on the ground and the background, nice neutral color, endless knots and so forth. And the crane wasn't faded. It was just done in gold thread, which is rather unusual. Very soft, very, very soft. Often the birds are done in blue to sort of matching the surroundings, and they're quite vibrant from a color standpoint. This thing was rather elegantly done in gold, 2 shades of gold no less, with the sun above it and so forth. And picked up $690. And it may have gone this is fairly reasonable for this. And I think it's because it may have looked like it faded. And it isn't. That was the correct color of that silk. That silk didn't fade. It was just started life as a very light color, light gold. Now onto this, the piece of katani. I happen to love this kind of katani wear. This very, very, very fine katani with just thousands of brush strokes in it, because I marvel at the detail. I'm going to see if they have a better picture of it here. Hold on. Oh, come on, give me a detail. Here's the back of it. No, they didn't bother, okay? If you ever get one of these to sell it, make sure you show a good detail shot, a close-up of the work here. Because in here, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little brush strokes. It looks like they were done with like a single hair brush and just very, very finely painted. And this was one of those. They didn't make a lot of them because they took so long to produce. And this one was a Dragon and Phoenix example, obviously. Very, very nice. And it's got these lotus shaped outer border with gilt. Just a beautiful plate. Just absolutely beautiful. And somebody picked it up for just $144. I kind of wish it was me. I should have bid on that. But at any rate, I have a Maping vase. I have a couple of vases like this at home already. This was kind of close to one of them, so I didn't bother. But $144, absolutely great buy. And this just shows that you can buy really fabulous early things. This was done during the Meiji period, 1880 to 1900, somewhere in there. You can buy fabulous pieces of finely decorated Japanese ceramics. Were done with such incredible skill. Nothing in China was ever produced like these. Nothing. They just never did them. Not that they couldn't, maybe. They just never did. But the Japanese were fascinated by fine workmanship, and this was just an example of it. I absolutely loved it, and I think for $140, what a great buy. All right, and then over to this, the fan painting of the goldfish. I just liked this. It was a nice folky painting, late 19th, early 20th century example. This painting actually had been at Skinner's last year. It sold in October of last year, and I think it went for a little under $200 or something like that. The buyer decided to put it up here on eBay, and this time around it brought a bit more. I don't think it brought a lot of money. It was a fair price, $423. I think the price at Skinner's was very soft. Skinner's is a pretty good place to buy things if you really know what you're doing, and you're willing to be patient, because you can make money at Skinner's if you know what you're doing. I'll put it that way. But you can also lose money because sometimes they're not real sharp on dating things, so you got to be a little careful. All right, now over here to this. This was that Kangxi aster pattern bowl with the silver rim, 28 centimeters in diameter, so it's pretty good size, about 9 inches in diameter, almost 10 inches. Good looking bowl. You can tell by the glass of wine and what size it is. And excuse me, somebody picked this up for 420 euros. That was a very nice buy. That was a very, very good buy on that. And again, I said it's summer, and during the summer months, things go a little slow. It had some restoration to it, but I think that was a very good buy nonetheless. Very nice looking bowl. And what else is going on around here? Oh yeah, this next week there's a few things coming up. We're not done building the list for next week. That'll be in this next week's newsletter page. But there are a few things. One of them is this painting. This is a nice old ink painting right here. I love this. I think this is beautifully painted. It's inscribed. It's late Qing. It's a fan painting that's been mounted on paper. Probably originally mounted on paper, just never got to be a fan. But beautifully done with the boatman in the foreground and classical early style of painting, Sung style of painting with the craggy mountains and the pine trees and so forth. And I love the two characters down here at the bottom. Just a nice looking work of art. If you like, why they show it upside down, I'll never know why they bother doing that. They probably didn't know. But there you go. It's a good looking picture. And what size is it's only up to $4. My goodness. What size is this thing? It's coming out of the UK. He has it dated 1900 to 1940. Maybe being a little bit conservative on the date. He didn't put in what size it is. I'm gonna guess it's probably about 10 inches in diameter. You might want to write him and ask him how big is it. All right. It's got a wax export seal, so whenever it was shipped out, it was within the 100-year period. But some pieces were exported in the 1960s that have red wax seals, which means it could have been made after after 1860, really. And they sometimes weren't real accurate on those wax seal things, so you want to always keep that in mind. But at any rate, it's only up to $6. So if you like Chinese paintings, you might want to chase that around a little bit. And then this little jade, this little standing figure here, he has it dated as circa 1900, and it may be a little bit older than that. The carving on this looks very, very nice through the facial expression, the pattern of the robes, the way the robes are done, nice detail, beautiful color. The jade is in a really nice color, really nice white color. A couple of minor inclusions in it, but nothing distracting at all. And a nice size, as you can tell by how big it is in his hand. Very nice looking pendant. This isn't broken, which is almost a miracle. And it's only up to $28, and it closes on Sunday. And I don't know why the price isn't higher. But I've had jades like this in the past and gotten $1,200 for them. So if you like jades and you want to take a shot at it, this looks like a pretty good one. He has it conservatively dated as being circa 1900. Could have been done a bit earlier than that, 1850 even. All right, in my opinion anyway. But I like that jade. It's just a nicely done piece, and it's well polished. All right, and then over here to this lotus form Kangxi bowl with the immortals floating on the clouds above chrysanthemums. This is a nice bowl. It's got the Chenhua marker on the bottom, of course, because it's not made in the Chenhua period, but a lot of them have that mark. But a nice looking one. It's got a couple of little nicks out of it up here and here, but overall it looks like a pretty good bowl to me. And it's up to $406, and ought to bring 700 to 1,000 somewhere in there, I suspect, by the time it's all done. And then this is the Shangri-La guys, Antiques and Collectibles, have this really interesting plate. This is a very, very interesting 18th century plate with the spiraling fish in the center, and then these scrolling vines of chimeras, interlooped chimeras of vines going around. I guess it's just vines. Those aren't really chimeras, are they? No, they're vines, scrolling vines going around the outside, and then these clusters of flowers running around the outer edge. Just a really pretty pattern bowl. And what's it up to here? Let's close this down. Oh no, you have to scroll up to their stuff. Here it is. These guys they're also, if you want to see more of their stuff, this company's stuff, go on the bitamount.com site on the left-hand side. We have them linked off the page because they have so much stuff online. They've got thousands of pieces up, and they always have things on eBay. This is the bowl. It's only up to $31. It closes in a week. It has no hairlines, no restorations, and a very pretty unusual bowl. Okay, a dish. If you collect unusual patterns of 18th century porcelain, you really want to take a second look at this, because this is an interesting pattern. Really, really is. And that's about it for the week. All right, and like I said, we may be getting a little bit of weather up here over the weekend, starting Sunday night into Monday. And if we do, I'll try to get some pictures for next week's video. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the videos are now, for those of you on the global member pages, you can now watch the weekly video without being tried to get sold something by YouTube. So you're not getting the commercials all through it anymore. And check out the Sotheby's sale. Some good, interesting looking whitewares and other things, some good bronzes, and I said chariot fittings and whatnot. Some real nice things in this, early bone carvings, all kinds of stuff. And that's about it. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy. This is one of the last weekends of summer, right? The 20th. We only got a couple more weekends left, and then we're heading into September, and everybody's going to get back to school and things. And have a great weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.